Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I know it's a very difficult time at the moment for many people. As you know yourself, the government are not very pleased with the Irish public, let's put it that way. So they're going to bring in the hate speech laws and obviously put everybody in prison who criticises the government, who ask any questions at all that challenges the government authority. Of course, we're going to throw you in prison for 9 years. We lock you up for 5 years, Helen McAtee said. But yeah, Leo was in England today, went over to the coronation, as you do, of course. The Irish teacher stuff and they got along with the person. Of course, you go over to the coronation. Of course, why not? But here's the kicker: the English Times in England covered it and said basically what Leo is doing at the moment is an attack on democracy, it's an attack on freedom. And that's from the English newspapers, and the Irish newspapers are falling asleep, let's be fair. They're too busy on about the coronation than talking about, people, its rights being infringed upon by the Irish government, by Leo. Let's be fair, Leo is the Taoiseach. He shouldn't have let this go as far as it is at the moment. And obviously the president too. But the English Times, even in England, they're saying that Leo and the government in this country, in Ireland, and not to, like, this is not a newspaper in Ireland just to say, they're saying that it's gone too far, that it's a bridge far too far into authoritarian. Like, that's literally what they're saying in a newspaper in England. Over here, it's just all about the coronation, because generally that newspaper, the people who are looking at the article there from the Times in England, generally, you can tell by the journalist that was writing this, he's generally surprised and very concerned in what they're trying to do. If you read the article, it's very concerning because it can be very vague, basically, and that's what you don't want in any law. Something that could be exploited by the government. It's not by people, it's by the government. The government can exploit that, saying, oh, this, that, and the other is hate speech. If you criticise Leo, that's hate speech now, apparently. Which is what they're going to do, let's be fair. Like, you couldn't trust them. They're showing time and time again that we couldn't trust them as far as we could throw them. But, it's bad when you see an English newspaper call out, an Irish law that's going to pass. It's bad when you see that. We're down bad, let's put it that way. And all the Irish newspapers and RT, of course, they're busy with the coronation. To hell with freedom, That's more or less what the newspapers and the mainstream media in Ireland says. No questions about it. No, you think they'll be challenged and saying, why should we give the government the power to do this? Why should we? What are we sacrificing? There's no questions from the media. They're just all throwing the load behind the government. And basically, sometimes they're saying nothing at all. But, say nothing until you hear more, they're going with that. But, no questions at all, no debating at all. It was fucked through the doll. Basically, there was no debates on TV or into the main debates and stuff like that. Because this is something that is going to affect every citizen, and it isn't an infringement on democracy. It's an attack on democracy. It really is, because it's not like very settled saying, if you say this word, take for example, if you do this, you could be put in prison. It's not like in specific instance, It's because basically it's all very, very vague. In terms, again, if you have something on your device, if you have a meme on your device that could send you to prison. Again, nothing's been clarified, nothing's been updated in the law. It's just all very open. It's literally extremely open. I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't think it would be exploited, which it will be exploited. And already the Irish prison system's over capacity, so sending people to prison for hate speech laws and people murdering people in the country, and God forbid drug dealing and all that going on in the country, these people are allowed to walk the streets who are causing actual crimes. They're being allowed to wander the streets day in, day out, and nothing's done about it, basically. And then people who ask a question of the government. We can't trust them. You can't trust them with this level of power. Like, it's a lot of power you're given to a government. And particularly to An Garda Síochána too. You're giving them a lot of power here. It's not like it's a small amount of power. It's a huge grab of power, basically. Saying that we could do this, we could take away, we decide when you can speak, and when your freedom of speech is right. And obviously, as I say, there's a few words that are considered hate speech, of course, I was there, but questioning people who thrown up out of the blue in the middle of the night, that's not hate speech, that's just asking a reasonable question. Or questioning the politician that's, is not from Ireland or whatever, that's not hate speech, that's just asking the question. It'd be different if you made it about, this person's from Timbuktu, I don't like this person because he's from Timbuktu. That's a different story. But as I say, you question people on their politics more than if they're from Timbuktu, they're from fucking the man's backyard, let's put it that way. you talk about the politics. You don't talk about the person. You talk about the politics. That's what politics should be about. Because attacking people in a personal capacity, you'll never win the debate. Let's put it that way. But we all know, we can see where the government's going, unfortunately. And it is a huge attack. And again, it's plain to be seen now that everybody outside of Ireland's horrified of this. Like an English newspaper actually taken up for the Irish people. Like imagine that 100 years ago now. Like it's insane. And obviously I don't know how, in the name of God, it could go past the if it does go to the Supreme Court. There's literally nothing that can really be done, to be totally honest, because it is plainly unconstitutional. Because basically the Irish Constitution, your freedom of expression. There's basically nothing. Nobody but God can stop you from speaking. Basically, that's basically what the Constitution of Ireland says. You're entitled to your freedoms of speech and freedom of opinion. Nobody can basically stop you. No living man on earth can stop you. That's basically what the Constitution. Every democracy, that nobody can ever stop you from saying, as long as it's not too offensive. Of course, if you're abusing people on the street, that's a different story. That's obviously a crime. Obviously, I'm not saying that you can't just go up to people and shout in their faces or something like that. Obviously that's against the law. Let's be fair. If you just go up to a random stranger and start shouting at them, obviously that's the law against that. Obviously, but if you're just expressing an opinion. Not even going and shouting in people's faces, but if you're just saying I disagree with the government opinion on this or immigration or on this or that or the other, you're perfectly entitled. You're perfectly entitled to disagree and to argue your point. Again, that's what democracy is all about. You argue your point, you express your opinion, and you get it out there. But you say I disagree because X, Y, and Z. And I think we should do this because X, Y, and Z. That's democracy. That's debate. That's what democracy is all about. Silence and debate. And pretending that things don't exist and stuff like that is basically not helping anybody. It hurts democracy more than it is. But obviously in this country, democracy, I don't know what you call this country's democracy now. It's every day it's going closer to fucking China 2.0. Like, let's be fair. But no, it is very worrying. And all jokes aside, now I'm trying to make light of it, because the only thing you could do is laugh, because you can't be always upset and things. You have to try and make light of dark situations, unfortunately. But it is though. I have to be honest with you. I wouldn't be saying this. Don't think I'm far away or anything like that. But no, I wouldn't be saying it unless I was genuinely concerned about this legislation. I'm sure people know. Usually, I consider my opinion for a long time. I mentioned about it before. I will say this. I mentioned about it a few months ago when the first was kind of talked about a lot more. I mentioned about it, give my opinions on it, but I kind of I seen the legislation and stuff like that. I looked into it a bit more, and it was a few weeks it got my opinion on it. Basically, I looked into it and it was like this. It is a threat to democracy. I didn't just jump on the bandwagon because it's the government. We want to bring down the government or whatever. I looked at it and I said, this is dangerous. That's as simple as that. I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon, let's be fair. And that's what I just want to say. Because I never would jump on the bandwagon. If I think the government or anybody, take for example, doing something to actually help people or something like that, I'd be like, fair fuck, so fair enough. But I'm like, this doesn't really help anything. The majority of what they're saying. Because there's not a specific instance. If this word is used or something like that, if it was in this word was used against this person on this and that date or whatever, you could be subject to a fine or whatever. It's very vague. It's not like in specific circumstances. Like, you look at other laws too, traffic offence laws and stuff like that. Obviously, if you go through a red light, unless you have an excuse, unless you're on the way, unless somebody is dying literally in the car or something like that, it's obviously in the rules of the road that you will get penalty points, you will get a fine for going through that red light. It specifically states in law what is the consequences if you do go. You might get a warning if again it depends on the guard, but generally in the law it's set in stone what will happen. Or if you don't have tax and insurance, the guards could seize your car and fine you a huge amount of money. Or if you have a loan or permit and you don't have somebody with you, the guards could seize your car and fine you. It's specifically stated in law what they could do. And it's the same with everything. If you do have a parking ticket, take for example, the traffic warden has the authority to fine you. It specifically says in law what. Again, it's very open. It's not saying a member of an Garda Síochána O'Connor can do this because this was said or this was acted upon or whatever. It's very, very open. if you look at it. That's how I say it. Thank you.